G'day, I'm Glen Kelly, the CEO of the Southwest Aboriginal Land and Sea Council, and welcome to this first video bulletin. We'll be producing a series of these bulletins designed to provide information about the negotiations with the WA Government aimed at resolving the Noongar native title claims over Perth and the Southwest. What we have before us is an offer from the state for an out-of-court settlement of the native title claims of the Southwest. You may have seen some coverage of the issue in the media over recent weeks. Most of the media stories have focused on the financial component of the government's offer, which may have given the impression that an out-of-court settlement is only about money. It's not. There are a number of very important parts of this proposed settlement that haven't been reported well. Things like recognition of traditional ownership, the return of land to Noongar people, support for culture and community, and a number of other key outcomes. Today, I want to focus on three things: the recognition of Noongar people as traditional owners, the land component of a settlement, and the process and time frame for reaching an agreement. One of the key outcomes of any native title effort is the recognition of Noongars as the traditional owners of the Southwest, something which Noongar people see as the most important aspect of any native title settlement. This is perfectly understandable, given the denials of this recognition that have been repeated through history. Recognition is far more than symbolic. It means something very real for the Noongar people and for the state. It means that finally the people of Western Australia will be recognising Noongar people for who we are, the traditional owners of the land since time immemorial and forever into the future. It also recognises Noongar people as having a living and ongoing culture, as having strong ties to country, and having ongoing responsibilities to the land and the special places in it. What we've been able to negotiate is for this recognition to be placed in an Act of the WA Parliament. This is significant because it represents the people of Western Australia and the Crown finally recognising Noongar people, culture and ties to land. This recognition through an Act of Parliament will be protected by an agreement, a contract between the state and the Noongar people, which will be registered in the Federal Court. This will protect the type of recognition that we're talking about from being withdrawn by a government of the future. Recognition is the bedrock of any agreement. Everything else in an agreement is built from this recognition, and everything else in an agreement is about enacting how Noongar ties and responsibilities to country can be brought to life in today's world. The second thing I want to talk about today is the land component of an agreement. Many people have been repeating the mantra that we are somehow selling the land. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, an agreement, an out-of-court settlement, will return a large amount of land to the Noongar people. So far, some 2,000 parcels of land have been identified for transfer to the Noongar people, covering an area of several 100,000 hectares. And there's more to identify yet. Also, these figures don't include lands that are held by the Aboriginal Lands Trust. What we've been asking people in the first instance is to identify areas of land that are of high cultural and social significance. That is, land where there are significant cultural and historic sites. Having a large land base will allow Noongar people to return to country, to conduct cultural gatherings, to care for country, and to give elders the opportunity to pass cultural knowledge to the next generation. Most importantly though, a Noongar land estate would allow all of these things to be done freely with no harassment from the authorities. Basically what we're saying here is that building a Nyungar land estate is the key to creating the cultural outcomes that are so important in a native title settlement, and to create the cultural reinvigoration that we need. Right now, we have the opportunity to create Nyungar cultural precincts throughout Nyungar country and bring large areas of land back into Nyungar ownership. Now, Nyungar culture is alive and well, but we can do things in an agreement like building a Nyungar land estate that strengthens culture even further. Not only this, but Nyungar culture and cultural strength is critical to the future of the Nyungar people. In fact, we believe that our future, the future of our land, and the future of those around us will rely very heavily on the values and insights that the Nyungar culture contains. No settlement of native title is worthwhile without strong cultural outcomes, and we'll be dedicating a future video bulletin entirely to this topic. There is also potential to acquire lands for commercial and possibly housing purposes. Given that we've so far been concentrating on cultural lands, there's a long way to go in this area. Even so, there's currently a golden opportunity to emulate other successful native title settlements by also acquiring land for commercial and economic development purposes. After all, if it can happen in other places of Australia, why can't it happen in Nyungar country? The last topic for this video bulletin is the process. Now, no agreement has been made yet, and we have a long way to go before this can be done. In addition, the decision to accept an agreement or not is not mine, and it's not SWALSC's. It's the decision of the Nyungar people. The negotiations with the state government will take some months to complete, and we don't expect to be able to present a final offer until late this year. After all the negotiations are done, SWALSC is required to hold a series of authorisation meetings throughout Nyungar country. These meetings will be open to Nyungar people regardless of whether they're a member of SWALSC or not, and are likely to occur in early 2013. In these authorisation meetings, Nyungar people present will be able to make a decision on whether they accept the agreement or not. If the final offer fails to get approval, that will end any chance of a negotiated settlement. What would happen then is we'll return to the federal court for litigation, a process that could take many years and which has uncertain prospects for success. Thank you for taking the time to view this video bulletin. If you have any questions about any aspect of the negotiations, please look at the other information we have up on the webpage, or contact the Land Council by email or phone, and we'll endeavour to answer those questions. We'll be conducting an extensive program of community information meetings right across Nyungar country in the coming weeks and months, so please watch out for the details on the webpage. If you'd like us to hold a meeting with your family group, with your local Aboriginal corporation, or in your town, please let us know, and we'll be happy to organise it. Watch out for future video bulletins where we'll be systematically addressing all of the main aspects of the negotiations and the offer that's been placed on the table currently by the state.